Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is Dan at Unicorn Riot. So, we're expecting the jury selection to resume in just a matter of moments. We have not seen the judge come back yet. Thank you all for joining us. This is day 4. We're getting really close. Could be finished today. We'll see. So, yesterday we saw some kind of sort of dramatic development with one prospective juror who said that the police had killed someone in their family, and Kim Potter herself had basically made disparaging comments about her black boyfriend. So that was kind of shocking. I believe we'll have be able to run that again. We're sort of cutting out a cleaner, version of the clip, so we can run that a little later if you want to see that again. It is the clip is posted on our Facebook. You can check out our website at unicornriot.ninja. It's just been updated. The Kim Potter trial landing page has all the latest info. We've got a lot of stuff up on the jurors, that banner image across the top. You can check that out. We also have a story up about that car attack that happened, which was pretty shocking. So that info is here about that, pretty terrifying development, which we caught live on the live stream, as well as the sort of first day demos that were happening. And then this longer video, which you might have seen if you tuned in earlier. Demonstrators, people talking about these issues, talking about stuff like jury selection, how these trials are handled, photos of the protests that happened earlier this week. So that's up on our website, unicornriot.ninja. You can check that out. And we also have another one, a new one up as of late last night. Ruby Montoya case raises questions about cooperation and movement lawyering. This is a Dakota Access Pipeline case. DAPL has to do with basically cooperating plea agreements, movement politics, movement lawyers. It sort of takes inside look at what's been going on with that case, and it's kind of shocking in the details. If you want to take a look at that one, that's right up on our website. We got it published last night. Really gives the inside dish on that whole thing. If you can support our work, the donate link is up at the top of the website. Take cash, check, PayPal, Stripe, Patreon, Coinbase for cryptos. Your support is really appreciated. It makes a big difference. That's great. Again, the trial page has been updated with more info on the jurors that we know about. That list is up to date. So it's really getting there. We are still waiting for a couple more, but it's getting very close. So we've got, an increasingly large summary appearing here on the landing page for you all to take a look at. And as well as down at the bottom of the page, those are our previous coverage on the story. So you can take a look at that. Let's go to all the info you need. One moment, please. Okay. Also, our new Twitter account, Unicorn Riot Live, is now running. So you can get your court updates there. We're sort of putting the high frequency court updates over in that spot. So take a look there if you want to get a sense of, the play-by-play. We're sort of taking those out of the main Twitter account and sort of creating a secondary one just for the, legal minutia. All right, so, we're still waiting. It's a little bit after 9. Give me 1 second. Usually the judge has been pretty prompt at 9, but not so much today. You never know what slows things down in the world of the law. So we're just going to wait for that. Again, thanks for joining us. We're just going to keep trying to stay on top of this. All right, well, we are waiting for court to come back. I'm just going to run a really short video that just was obtained by our contributor Sam Richards that sort of shows how surveillance planes work. I think it's sort of interesting just to look at how the government monitors dissent in this country. This is footage from St. Paul. So Sam's story is up on our website. You can look at that here. It was from a while back, but it's from February. But I think it's really indicative of how things work. So again, we're just waiting for the judge to come back in. So thank you all for joining us. We're going to bring it back as soon as the judge comes back.
My name is Tina Burnside. I'm one of the co-founders of the Minnesota African American Heritage Museum and Gallery. I'm also the curator for the museum, and today we created a Black Lives Matter mural right here on Plymouth Avenue, right in front of the museum, and it was a great event. We had 16 artists who were each signed a letter. They did their own creative designs on the letters. We also had a network of volunteers who came out, and we also had the community that came out to volunteer and helped paint. So it was a beautiful event. The reason that we did the Black Lives Matter mural was in support of the movement and the protest against the killing of George Floyd and the fight against systemic racism.
You know, being here for this cause, man, was a beautiful thing. Hopefully help some people heal a little bit and inspire people to be more spirited in their response to things that should be happening. I mean, I'm honored to be a part of it. I mean, and it's for me, since I was out there and about during the whole uprising, and just watching all that beautiful action. But to see people out there was inspiring for me as an old head. I was like, okay, these young folks got it, right? And so it's our job, at least I think in my head, to keep young brothers and sisters, you know, spirited.
This is protesting peacefully, you know what I mean? And if people are upset about it, then that's their problem, but this means a lot to everyone here.
It's great to see something so profound and so powerful being stated on Plymouth and Penn Avenue. Plymouth Avenue is a historical avenue where in the 60s where the riots took place in this black community. There used to be businesses up and down the street here.
We got projects like this, and it's giving the artists an opportunity to speak through their visual paintings, through their poetry, through their whatever medium that they have. I think that's the plus side of it, The downside of it is that the injustice and people are losing their lives in order for this to happen. So, we need this to happen without people losing their lives, without black people losing their lives.
Again, thank you all for joining us. We are just waiting for now. The judge has still not come back yet. We are pending the start of day 4. I'm just going to keep running videos while we're waiting, but as soon as the judge comes back, we will bring it back live immediately. Thank you all for joining us.
We get a little bit of change, but it's still not enough. I mean, officers are getting prosecuted a lot faster, but we're still not getting the justice that we want. If you've been out here the last couple of days, you can see that we've peacefully been assembling, but they still been like shooting tear gas at us. They've been hitting us with rubber bullets. They got something new. I don't know what they're hitting us with now, but something new they started to hit us with too. At the end of the day, they shouldn't be hitting no citizens with this. Like, they're engaging with us like it's war. Like, what do we do? If they come out right now and tell us to move and start going move, we're gonna move. You know what I mean? If they come out here and they try to arrest us, we're going to try to stop them from being arrested. We get a little bit of change, but it's still not enough. I mean, officers are getting prosecuted a lot faster, but we're still not getting the justice that we want. If you've been out here the last couple of days, you can see that we've peacefully been assembling, but they still been like shooting tear gas at us. They've been hitting us with rubber bullets. They got something new. I don't know what they're hitting us with now, but something new they started to hit us with too. At the end of the day, they shouldn't be hitting no citizens with this. Like, they're engaging with us like it's war. Like, what do we do? If they come out right now and tell us to move and start going move, we're gonna move. You know what I mean? If they come out here and they try to arrest us, we're gonna try to stop them from being arrested. But we're not gonna do nothing more than that. You know what I mean? They don't need to be using tear gas on us. They don't need to be using none of the devices that they're using on us. We out here peacefully protesting. They treat us like it's a civil war. So that's what they're gonna get in the end. I mean, we out here, we're not gonna stop until we get change. We're gonna keep fighting for the families that need justice. The movement is bigger than ever before. It's larger than ever before. We appreciate all the support. I shared a clip of your video last night with the young lady getting arrested, man. And I just thank y'all for supporting everybody, man. We one tight-knit family out here, man. We got to stick together. I know y'all watch this. I know people saying what up to Frank Nitty right now. I think it's dope how you do stuff we can't do. You got your camera, going live with your camera. We out here with our phone. I like it though. For sure. But no, man, you put a lot of work in, bro. You try hard, and I want you to know that it's all love and respect from me. You know what I mean? Black Lives Matter, the movement, BLMM. We out here, man. They're not as aggressive today yet, huh?
Not. So they declared curfew, but they haven't said any unlawful assemblies. People are talking about the police might be getting ready to count everybody in this area for a curfew violation. But that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, when I was coming, I did a little patrol. I went and got some walkie-talkies, but I did a small patrol, and they were blocking off the highways to get here, and they were parked there already. So I think they're gonna try to block all of the ways out. You know what I mean? Possibly, but we got the church though. I asked them for asylum a couple days ago. They've been very generous ever since then. So I've been talking to them back and forth about us being able to be there. Just trying to get organized out here, man, so that they can't just do anything to us. They're not supposed to be kettling us. They're not supposed to be using the stuff they're using on us, but they still are. But I mean, that's what they do. They do whatever they want. They don't listen to anybody. And that's the problem. We need a system that works for us. We need people that work for us. And we're only talking about unreasonable things. You know what I mean? Black people, we want to be treated fairly. We don't want anything more. We don't want to be anything better than anyone else. We want the same treatment as everybody else. You know what I mean? That's it. It's a simple thing. Something that we shouldn't be asking for is something that everybody should get. If you don't believe in that, then...
Can you talk about that a little bit more? Like, just even a black man, and then seeing all these black men sort of lynched on TV at this point.
I mean, think about it like this. Like, we're the shackleless slaves. It's still slavery. You know what I mean? They just took the shackles off. But it's all territorial. They don't want black people to move around. That's what it's about. You ever notice it's always about us being pulled over in our vehicles, stopped in our cars? They want us to be confined into one area of society. They want us to stay in a ghetto. They want us to be stuck in these areas that are marginalized and oppressed. And the way they do that is by putting fear in us so that we don't want to drive our car. Traveling in your vehicle is the most non-racist experience a black person can have. Anywhere else you go out in public, even from the 60s and the 20s and the 30s when we first started buying vehicles, we had to put our money on a bus and get in the back. It was owning a vehicle, being able to travel the road that gave us that sense of freedom where we didn't have to deal with a racist society. And the fact that they want to keep us boxed in, it's no different than slavery before. We might not have shackles on, but the fact that we're still boxed in to these communities, that we're still boxed into these areas where they're trying to make it hard for us to just simply travel from A to B is ridiculous. You know what I mean? And that's why they try so hard to oppress us. It's all about control and power. I mean, even this is about control and power and force. It's mental warfare, man. I rode past the National Guard today, and I felt like we was finna beef. Like real life street beef. People don't understand the psychological warfare they putting us through out here. When you go see the police after you've been out here, after they did what they did, you literally feel like you finna have, like they know you. Like you see the National Guard, you looking like, oh man, I'm finna get into it with them on the street. That's the psychological warfare that happens from being out here, man. It stay with you. It's difficult. You know what I'm saying? But that's why they impose the way they impose. It's just a threat. They don't have no rules, no laws, or nothing to stand behind. So they just impose. That's all they do. Write tickets and give us cases that definitely gonna be dropped. You know what I mean? But we're afraid of that. So then we run, so then we move, we do all these things. But at the end of the day, you got a bunch of people that's not scared. They out here every day. You, me, these people that's out here right now, they're gonna be out here every day fighting for black people. Fighting. And the thing about it is, some people don't understand why we say Black Lives Matter. You think when Martin Luther King fought for black people that other people didn't get rights? You think they're gonna write laws that say for black people? No, it's gonna be laws for all people. That's how we get change for everybody. We get equality for everybody through black people. You get what I'm saying? Once we get change for black people, they're gonna write laws for all people.
Yeah, thank you for that. Can we touch on that real quick?
For sure.
So we had the George Floyd uprising, which led to the largest uprising in
American history, yeah.
Humankind, right? And it was a movement for Black lives. And yet then a Democratic administration comes in, and then they do start making laws, but none of them impact black folks or ability to black folks to get some accountability for crimes that are committed against them. Instead, it's also focused on other, sets of groups. And so, can you talk about that? Because you started.
Yeah, I mean, right. Like, and that's the thing. It's not going to be actual change. All lives can't matter till Black Lives Matter. It's no disrespect to the other groups, but ain't no group hated like black people. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you know what black hate is compared to other hate? Black hate is walking down the street and thinking you a goddamn criminal. Black hate is people crossing the street when they see you. Black hate is people locking their doors. Black hate is people following you around the goddamn stores. No other race experiences that. That's black hate. I don't know what other hate people go through, but that's black hate. We can't walk down the goddamn street. We can't drive in a goddamn car. We're the only race of people that experiences that. And until you fix that, I can't really speak on the other races. All lives can't matter till Black Lives Matter with me. And as we get changed, they're gonna change the laws for everybody. How you think we got there already? Martin Luther King freed everybody when he got those changes made for segregation. It was integration for everybody. It was a lot of groups that wasn't even fighting like that got benefits from the fight that he fought. And that's gonna be the same thing. It's a lot of groups that's not out here now that's still gonna benefit from the fight of black people. Until people realize that this all resides on the most oppressed race, until they realize that until we help black people, that we can't help nobody else, we're gonna continue to have this problem. You know what I mean? It's systematic oppression. Black people don't cause crime. Poor people commit crimes, not black people. Black people, we move to the suburbs, our kids do just like white kids. Go to their school, do just like white kids. We get jobs with them and do just like them. And white people move to our community and act just like black people. They go to jail, they commit crimes, they sell dope, they sell drugs, they go through the same shit they go through. Every race of people that falls into our community go through the same shit we go through. Ain't nothing wrong with black people. It's the system that oppresses us. It's the system that we're in. You never seen two rich people go grab a gun and just run out there and rob somebody. That don't happen. Poor people do that. Because when you poor, it causes mental illness. You have to make decisions that you never would have thought of doing as a human being. It changes everybody. I don't care who you is. Your conditions gonna change you. If you look at where we start, black people are the most successful race in the world from where we start. People get a head start over us. How many people come from the conditions that we come in and rise up? How many other white people that come from our conditions are celebrities? Chinese people, other races of people that come from where we come from, grow up in these communities and rise up. We the only people make it out this shit. We make it from nothing. Everybody else get a head start. That's how powerful we are. But they want to trick the world into thinking that we not. That's the whole trick. If we started where everybody else started, we'll pass everybody up. And the world know that shit. And half the world's scared of that, and the other half of the world celebrating it. Like, you know what, we don't even care about the excellence of black people. We just want them to be treated fairly. The other half of the world, they're afraid of the excellence of black people, and they don't want us to pass them up. If you look at us, we the most loving race of people on the planet Earth. Look how we picked up Asian hate, even though we have a history of Asians hating us. I know women have gotten beaten by Asians, hurry up and buy, in Minister Society. That was a real thing. They used to follow us around the stores. They chastised our women at their nail shops. The Asian community really haven't been down for us like that, but we still support them. We the most loving people ever. We don't support everybody. We don't want to be on top of people. We just want to be treated the same as everybody else so that we can have our opportunity to give back to our own people and make sure that we can rise up and be great as we can be. What other race is oppressed like us? What other race rise like us? What other race fight like us? I'm being honest. Nobody. Police do something to a white man, I'm gonna fight for you too. Black people gonna be out here marching. If a white person gets shot, if a Mexican person gets shot by the police, if an Asian person gets shot, we gonna march for all of y'all. Because that's who we are. We fighters. We march for everybody. We fight for the people at the bottom, the most oppressed. And anybody that don't understand that, that's why they're not out here. But you ain't gotta understand. Because the youth, the young people, they get it, and they teach their kids. The kids get it. The young people get it. They don't want to be like our grandparents. They don't want to keep the tradition going. So it's going to end when they die. That's why we don't care. We're going to keep spreading the message, and when they die, it's going to be over. What they thought, they could die and go to hell. It don't even matter. The racism got to die with the racist people, because they never going to respect us. No matter what we say, no matter what we do, that mentality is going to always live inside of them. They got to die with that shit. And we got to rise up a new nation of people and grow our kids up. And white people, this is the last thing I'm going to wrap it up with. We need y'all help because y'all can hold white people accountable. We don't need y'all help as a race. Black people can survive on our own. We don't need white people help as a race. We need y'all to stop fucking with racist white people, okay? That's the only way we're going to get change. Not telling your dad, don't be racist. Stop eating with your fucking dad. Stop talking to your dad if he's gonna be racist. Stop doing business with racist people. Stop going to their stores if they racist. Stop trading with them if they racist. Stop servicing them if they racist. If white people hold racist white people accountable, instead of just educating them, actually stop having a relationship with them, they'll have to change. They'll have to. But as long as they still get white money, as long as white kids still sitting with their racist parents, as long as people still dealing with these racist white folks, then they're gonna continue to be what they are. White people have to hold them accountable. They don't give a fuck what we say. You can have conversations with people that have never talked to me. That's just the truth. And if you stop doing business with white people that need white people business, eventually they'll change. That's pretty much it. But until we get those things done, we can't do nothing. My name Frank Nitty. I ain't mean to, I ain't gonna take up your whole stream. It's a lot going on out here. Y'all know I'll talk forever. Love to my people. For sure. Love my brother. Shout out to the Minnesota family. For sure, bro. It's real out here, bro. I don't just be, for sure, bro. I love you too, bro. We all love each other, bro. This is the only place in the world where you can be yourself. You come out here with a fucking shield and ain't nobody gonna judge you. That's why people be out here. Because this the only place in the goddamn world you can be yourself. And then when people leave here, they gotta go back to the ugly society of life that's segregated, that's racist, that treat everybody funny, that look at us all weird. Out here, everybody the same. No matter what color you is, if some pizza come, it's whoever go over there and get it. Ain't nobody first. If something come out here, it's whoever get it. We all treated the same out here. And people love it out here. That's why we come out here. And when we go back to the real world, it's ugly. We got to go back to that society that oppresses us, that look at us all like we weirdos. If we want to dress a certain way, if we want to look a certain way, if we want to have tattoos in a certain place. But out here, this is real freedom. This is no judgment. This is what the new world look like. That's why everybody need to come out here and join us. Even if we don't get these people to understand what we're going through, we understand each other. And the equality and the love that we feel out here with each other is a love you'll never feel nowhere else. Come out here and march and support these people in Minnesota. For real.
What's up, everyone? This is Dan. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. We have been waiting on court to start, and it's interesting. As you can see, we are getting mysterious color bar signals from the upstream video feed. It's that's all we can see right now are test pattern bars that keep changing every couple minutes. Not very informative content for everybody. So we're just, we're waiting to see if, and if folks on the chat, if you are seeing court coverage coming through some other system, you can let us know. But so far we haven't been able to get anything from the upstream. So, or rather, we were getting an empty courtroom earlier, and now we're just getting sort of, mysterious blank nothingness. So I'm going to run a video that our member Akichita took from the first day of trial. He was out there, folks were rallying, kind of on the megaphone, some conversations and stuff from that, that first day of trial. So I'm going to run that right now. And again, as soon as court comes back from test patterns and stuff, we will bring it right back to you. So again, sorry we don't have anything fresh to bring you from court yet so far today, but this is what we got right now. I tell you, up to the moment, and we've been seeing them kind of restart the system, and it's not really clear what's going on behind the scenes with the video feeds today, because this is obviously not the courtroom. So thank you all for joining us. We'll hang in there. If folks have any questions, you can throw them on the chat and Facebook. I definitely can try to answer questions or track them down. It's just sort of a strange time. We're in limbo for a minute. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate your support.
That's what public outcry look like. We tired of this happening to our people. Daunte Wright should be here. She meant to grab a taser. He shouldn't be dead. Fight or flight. You're scared.
For this year and just focusing on your job as a juror if you're selected.
We are back live. This is finally live. Thank you all for joining us.
I think you rather candidly and understandably expressed, sadness for really both sides of this incident. Do you recall your answer about experiencing some sadness for the victim and sadness for the officer's career? You recall that answer?
Yes, I do recall that.
And like I said, there's understandable human emotions, but you probably already told us this, but to be able to set those emotions aside if you were a juror and selected in this case and decided only on the evidence.
Yes.
And like what happens to a person's career is you can answer the question then.
Could you restate it?
Yeah. So, that sadness over what happens to a person's career is not part of the evidence, may not be part of the evidence that, was part of the trial.
You're right, yes.
And
I agree with that.
And if it's not evidence in the trial, you can set that emotion aside.
Yes.
There was that chart of responses, I agree and disagree. Do you remember that? You know, it was some time ago you had to answer this.
Are you referring to a specific?
In the questionnaire, there.
Right, I remember that section, yes.
You indicated that the question was, I do not trust the police, and you said you somewhat disagree. So do you remember why you chose somewhat disagree there about do not trust the police?
Well, I generally trust the police, but there are occasions when we cannot trust the police.
They're people too. Is that fair?
Pardon me?
They are people too.
Right.
Okay. Obviously, this case involves a police officer. You think you can be a fair and impartial juror in a case involving a police officer's actions?
Yes.
If you can excuse me for just a moment, Your Honor, may I have a moment, please?
Yes.
Thank you, Juror 57, Your Honor. That's all the questions I have, and we would pass the juror for those.
You're going to be on this jury. We're going to start December 8th, and you will get a call from the jury office to confirm the time and the date, but that's what we expect will happen. All right?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Have a great rest of the day. All right.
Judge, are the jurors told not to read the news because there was an article this morning that
So that was the 13th juror to get
Minneapolis
seated.
paper about jurors and who's an alternate and who isn't, and they really shouldn't know that.
Yeah, they're told, they've been told before, and I think when they go through orientation, they're told again. They're told both in writing and orally. But, you know, I'll make sure if you still have concerns, I warn them not to look at any newspaper articles about the case or whatever. But,
I understand.
yeah.
As long as they've been told that it's...
Yeah. But, you know, I think it was reported what the practice is in Hennepin County on alternates, so. Okay, are you ready for the next juror? Okay. Thank you, Deputy. Oh, yes, that's right, we're doing the panel. Okay, we have fresh ones.
So basically, they're going for like about one more alternate is the point that we're at right now, I believe.
Counsel, I know you probably slipped. No first names, please. Do not use first names. I think you called your client Kim. So please refrain from doing that. Okay.
Well, at least it wasn't a juror.
True.
You're getting better.
So for folks joining us, Kim Potter was a veteran of the Brooklyn Center Police Department for quite some time, and she killed Daunte Wright in a traffic stop. And so there are manslaughter charges levied by the state of Minnesota against Potter, and that's what this trial is about. opening arguments are scheduled for December 8th, but they could start early because this is moving along faster than it might have been expected to be. This is actually moving along pretty smoothly, so we might see opening arguments before December 8th, perhaps. And for folks wondering, there was definitely some problems with the AV system at court. We brought you everything that we could through our feed today, but we don't really know too much about how the questioning went with this last juror because the system seems like it wasn't working for a minute.
Right, please be seated. Good morning, members of the jury panel. I'm Regina Chu, and I'll be the presiding judge in this case. I want to start out by saying thank you. Thank you for interrupting your normal routine. Thank you for fulfilling such an important civic obligation. You know, we're living in really trying times, so it is with extra heartfelt appreciation from the entire justice system for your appearing and responding to your jury summonses. Upholding the rights that we cherish, the right to a trial by jury and the right to a speedy trial in trying, unusual times is the American way. You validate these constitutional rights by appearing today and by proving your willingness to serve. You jurors really are our heroes. You are ordinary people who are called upon to do extraordinary work to make sure that our justice system moves forward, even in the midst of a pandemic. You are upholding the Constitution, the very foundation of our democracy, and we could not do this without you. Now, not all of us can serve in the military, but we all can do our civic duty by serving as jurors. Our justice system would not work without good citizens like you. I'm saying thank you again because I really can't say thank you enough. All right, as you know, this is a criminal case in which the state of Minnesota has charged the defendant, Kimberly Potter, with the following charges. Count 1 is first-degree manslaughter predicated on reckless use or handling of a firearm. That count alleges that on or about April 11, 2021, in Brooklyn Center, Hennepin County, Minnesota, defendant Kimberly Ann Potter caused the death of Daunte Wright while committing the misdemeanor offense of reckless handling or use of a firearm, so as to endanger the safety of another with such force and violence that death or great bodily harm to any person was reasonably foreseeable. Count 2 alleges second-degree manslaughter. and that count alleges that on or about April 11, 2021, in Brooklyn Center, Hennepin County, Minnesota, defendant Kimberly Ann Potter caused the death of Daunte Demetrius Wright by her culpable negligence, whereby Kimberly Potter created an unreasonable risk and consciously took a chance of causing death or great bodily harm to Daunte Demetrius Wright while using or possessing a firearm. The defendant has pleaded not guilty. That plea denies the charges and places upon the state of Minnesota the burden of proving defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The state is represented by Mr. Matt Frank, Ms. Erin Eldridge, Mr. Josh Larson, and Mr. Raul Shah. The defendant is represented by Mr. Earl Gray, Mr. Paul Ing, and Ms. Amanda Montgomery. And I want to introduce you to a couple of other people that will play critical roles in this case. You've already met my staff, but my law clerk is Mr. Zach Kramer, and my judicial clerk is Ms. Jessica Bauer. Mr. Kramer and Ms. Bauer are responsible for taking care of all administrative matters. If you need to get a message to me of a personal nature, please let my staff know, and they'll make sure the message gets to me. Seated in front of me is Ms. Carly Davis. She is a certified court reporter that is responsible for taking down all the testimony and keeping a formal record of the proceedings. This means that when you respond to questions, you must speak loudly and clearly so that our court reporter can make an accurate record. Also, because the court reporter is taking down everything that is said in the courtroom, if you have to answer orally with a excuse me, with a yes or a no instead of shaking your head. And please don't say uh-huh and in response to questions, because that doesn't make for a clear record. A couple of logistics before we get started on jury selection. As you know, masks are required at all times. The only time that you may remove your mask is when you are in the witness box being questioned by me and the attorneys. Now, let me give you an idea of what jury selection is going to look like. There'll be group questioning that I will do, and then individual questioning. During group questions, I will ask you to raise your hand or not raise your hand in response to my questions. An oral response is not required nor asked for. Then, after I'm done with my group questions, I will question you individually. I know all of you have filled out a rather lengthy questionnaire. The individual questioning is expected to be very short. I'll just have some follow-up questions to some of the answers in your questionnaire. And after I get done, the attorneys may have some questions for you also. When we do individual questioning, I will do you one at a time, and I will dismiss the other jurors to the waiting room. Okay? Please know that we can't always control the temperature in the courtroom consistently, so dress in layers. You're allowed to bring something into the courtroom to drink as long as it has a cap on it. All right? Now, delays. I know that you're taking time out of your daily life to be here, so I try to keep the delays as short as possible or not at all. But in other words, I try to take care of all legal matters with the lawyers before you come in the morning, or deal with them after you leave for the day. But sometimes unanticipated issues come up, and I'm required to deal with those issues during the trial. So if you're chosen as a juror, please understand that I apologize for that, but sometimes it can't be helped, because it's so important for you as jurors to hear only the appropriate evidence that you should consider in deciding this case. Okay, so I hope you will understand if there are delays. I would suggest that you bring something to read if you're chosen as a juror, just so that there's something to occupy you in the event that there is a more than lengthy delay, which I don't anticipate, but might happen. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you some preliminary instructions. There are rules of law that apply in a criminal case. A complaint is not evidence. It creates no inference or presumption of guilt. No member of the jury should in any way be prejudiced against Ms. Potter because a complaint has been filed against her or because she is on trial. The defendant is presumed innocent. In order for you to find the defendant guilty, the state must prove guilt. The defendant does not have to prove her innocence. The presumption of innocence remains with the defendant until and unless the defendant has been proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt by evidence admitted in this trial. Now, a common misperception of the American criminal justice system is that the jury determines whether the accused person is guilty or innocent. That is not what American juries do in a criminal case. There is no such thing as an innocent verdict in American criminal law. The jury's verdict is either guilty or not guilty. Guilty means proved beyond a reasonable doubt. Not guilty means not proved beyond a reasonable doubt. To make sure that the defendant and the state receive a fair trial by an impartial jury, it'll be necessary for me and the lawyers to ask you questions. Remember that you will be under oath when you answer our questions, and that you must answer honestly. Now, the questioning is a very important part of the process. All of us hold personal opinions, and every one of us have had life experiences. The purpose of jury selection is to try to determine whether or not you hold certain opinions so strongly, or if something has happened to you or someone near and dear to you that would make it difficult for you to be fair and impartial in this type of a case. Put differently, those opinions or life experiences would basically prevent you from concentrating on only the evidence in this case and making your decision solely on the evidence presented. Please don't take offense to any questions that we ask you. Our goal is not to pry into your personal affairs. Our sole purpose and our obligation is to ensure that the jurors who decide this case are neutral, open-minded, and fair. Neutral means that before you hear all the evidence in this case, you're not leaning one way or the other on the issue of whether the state has proved its case beyond a reasonable doubt. Open-minded means that you're willing to listen to all the evidence and consider all the evidence before making your decision. Fair means that you will base your verdict on the evidence in this case and not on anything that is not presented in this case. Of course, we want you to bring your common sense to the jury room, but your verdict must be based on the evidence you hear during the trial. Now, your obligation is to answer the questions honestly and to tell us of anything, even if you're not asked, that might affect your ability to be neutral, open-minded, and fair. Now, some of you who will be questioned will be excused. Please don't take offense. If you are excused, it doesn't mean that anybody thinks that you're not a fair person. So if you are excused, I hope you will understand. All right, panel members, at this point, please stand up and raise your right hand, and Mr. Kramer will administer the oath.
Do you affirm under penalty of perjury that you will truthfully answer all questions about your qualifications to serve as a juror? If so, please say, I do.
All right, you may be seated. Okay. All right, panel members, I'm going to start with the group questions now. And remember, you don't have to answer orally, okay? Okay, the first question is, do any of you have serious concerns about your health if you were to serve as a juror in this case? If so, please raise your hand. No hands are raised. Does anyone on the panel have trouble understanding or hearing what I am saying? Please raise your hand. No hands are raised. Our system of law presumes the defendant guilty of the charges against her unless and until she has been proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt by evidence presented in this trial. The burden of proof is on the state. The defendant does not have to prove her innocence, and she is presumed innocent. Do you accept the principle that the defendant is presumed innocent and that the state has a burden of proof? If so, please raise your hand. All hands are raised. Does anyone disagree with that principle? Please raise your hand. No hands are raised. If you serve as a juror, I'll instruct you as to the law. You must follow the law as I give it to you, even if you believe the law is or should be different. Are you willing to do this? If so, please raise your hand. All hands are raised. If you're chosen as a juror, I'll instruct you that proof beyond a reasonable doubt is such proof as ordinarily prudent men and women would act upon in their most important affairs. A reasonable doubt is a doubt based upon reason and common sense. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt does not mean beyond all possibility of doubt. Does anyone disagree with that principle of law? Please raise your hand. No hands are raised. In arriving at your verdict, if you sit as a juror, the subject of penalty and punishment is not to be discussed nor considered by you. This is a matter that lies solely with the court within the limits prescribed by law. The subject of penalty or punishment must not in any way affect your decision as to whether or not the state has proved the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you willing to follow this instruction? If so, please raise your hand. All hands are raised. Under our system of justice, the jury must decide the case solely on the evidence produced in court and the law that the judge instructs, and not because of bias, passion, prejudice, or sympathy. Would you be able to follow this instruction? If so, please raise your hand. All hands are raised. Now, there will be police officers who will testify in this case, as well as other witnesses. I'm going to give you some guidelines in determining whether a witness is believable or not believable. And, really it's basically a matter of common sense, but things to look at are, how did the witness appear? Did he or she seem honest and sincere? Will the witness gain or lose if the case is decided a certain way? Was the witness's testimony consistent with other evidence in the case? And, what was the witness's relationship to the parties? Would you be able to use these guidelines in deciding the credibility of a police officer just as you would any other witness? If so, please raise your hand. Okay, all hands are raised. Is there anyone here that would believe the testimony of a police officer just because he or she is in law enforcement? Please raise your hand. No hands are raised. Is there anyone here that would completely discount the testimony of a police officer just because of his or her position? No hands are raised. Do any of you know any of the lawyers involved in this case? Do any of you know the defendant? No hands are raised. And Attorney General Keith Ellison will also be representing the state. Does anyone know Mr. Ellison? Okay. Okay, we're going to start with opening statements on December 8th. Our best estimate is that we're going to be done by December 23rd. Now, I don't want you to worry about Christmas Eve or Christmas, because I intend to take Christmas Eve and that weekend off. And if we're not done, we'll start on Monday, December 27th. So I don't want you to worry at all that you're going to miss Christmas holidays with your family and friends. If you're selected as a juror, we'll start court at 9 o'clock and we'll go until 4:30 or 5. There'll be a 20-minute break in the morning, a 20-minute break in the afternoon, and we typically take an hour for lunch. Please remember that while court is in recess, you can't talk to anyone involved in this case, nor should you discuss the case among yourselves while you're in the waiting room or otherwise. You may see the parties or the lawyers in the hallways when you come in. Don't take offense if they don't stop to say hello or talk to you. Everyone involved in this case has been ordered to have no contact or communication with any member of the jury panel. Any violation of that rule could jeopardize the trial. That prohibition will continue until a verdict has been returned. All right, I'm done with the group questions, and I'm going to start individual questioning. I would like juror number 58 to remain in the courtroom, and will the remaining panel members follow the deputy to the waiting room? Thank you.
I believe we are essentially looking for one last alternate, number 14.
Juror number 58, will you please take the witness stand, the chair next to me? And you may remove your mask. Okay. Just a couple of follow-up questions, not very many. Ooh. My computer just went off. Oh, sorry, Zach. Thank you. Oh. Every time he touches something, it gets fixed. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. It looks from your questionnaire that you really don't know very much about this case. Can you tell me what you've heard?
The only thing I've heard is I've seen, I think, the video maybe twice of just even just the part where the shooting happens and, you know, she said taser, 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 and then said, oh no, I shot him. But that's pretty much all I've heard about the case. I've kind of tried not to look into it that much.
Okay. You realize anything that you've heard or seen outside of this courtroom is in evidence, right?
Correct.
Okay. And that if you're chosen as a juror, you can only consider the evidence that you hear in court and not consider anything else that isn't?
Yes.
Okay. In response to one of the questions, the question being, do you believe your community has been negatively or positively affected by any of the demonstrations that have taken place in the Twin Cities area in the last 2 years? Your response in the questionnaire was that I feel nothing has, I think it says, changed.
Yeah, I guess I feel like I live far enough out that, you know, my community wasn't really impacted.
Okay.
I guess I haven't noticed where I live, I guess.
Okay. What city do you live in?
Eden Prairie.
Okay. Your daughter's godfather is a St. Paul police officer?
Correct.
Okay. So I take it you're very good friends with him or her?
Yep. We just haven't seen enough of each other the last 2 years, but...
Okay. But before that, you regularly saw... Is it a her or a him?
It's a him.
Okay. So you have regular contact with him?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, we recently moved to Eden Prairie, so we don't see him as much as before, but yeah.
Well, being the fact that you trusted him enough to make him the godfather, I take it you're real close.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy.
Okay. I asked you a bunch of questions about the testimony of police officers and whether you could use your judgment in determining credibility and not give them more weight than other witnesses. And can you do that?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, even though you're like one of your close friends is a police officer.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, because police officers you recognize are different and they're all human beings, right?
No, yeah.
Okay.
I've heard some stories.
Yeah. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Just discussing out this case or anything, just in the past, like he mentioned, there's just some police officers aren't, you know, the best.
Okay.
But then he also has some really good friends, so I guess I'm neutral on that whole thing.
Okay. Okay, you've been a victim of a crime. I think You've got very interesting writing. I think it
Yeah,
says
sorry,
theft.
I'm looking at it and
I think it says theft.
yeah, so I guess in college, just my wallet was stolen out of my
Alright.
gym locker.
Okay.
But that's about it.
And you were satisfied with how the police responded?
Yes.
Okay. In response to the question, because law enforcement officers have such dangerous jobs, it's not right to second-guess decisions they make while on duty. You indicated that you strongly disagree with that. Can you explain why?
I think we're all just people, and just because you're in law enforcement, you shouldn't get extra leeway on your side. So I guess we should all be held accountable to our decisions.
Okay. In response to the question, do you believe our criminal justice system works? Why or why not? You wrote, it works with the laws in place, but the laws are not just. Could you elaborate on that?
I just feel like some laws impact certain groups more than others. So I mean, the way it's laid out now, I feel like it's working as a system, but there could always be changes made to the laws.
Do you have any laws in mind in particular?
No.
Right. Now, I'm going to give you the law that you have to apply.
Okay.
And you've got to apply that law whether or not you think the law is or should be different. Are you going to have a problem with that?
No.
Okay. In response to the question, is there a reason why you would not be able to give your complete attention to a trial during the time that this case is going to be tried? You just stated young child. Can you explain what your answer means?
Yeah, I just have a 2-year-old toddler that, being, young and everything, just in and out of daycare, just, with all the COVID shutdowns and everything. But I don't think it should be an issue. I've worked stuff out with my parents that they'd be able to take over and watch it during the day.
Okay.
If needed.
Good. If you're chosen as a juror, will you be open-minded, fair, and neutral?
Yes.
Okay. And can you think of anything about yourself that I should know about or the attorney should know about that it would impact on your ability to be fair and impartial?
Not that I can think of, no.
Okay. And I think that's all the questions I have, so thank you.
Thank you.
Counsel?
Good morning, number 58.
Morning.
Earl Gray, Paul Lang, Kim Potter, and Amanda Montgomery are the lawyers. Obviously, Kim Potter is one on trial. Because the state has the burden of proof in this case, they go first. And not until they are complete can we present, excuse me, our case. Would you be able to keep an open mind and wait until all of the evidence is in before you come to any conclusion?
Yes.
All right. You'd follow the law of the presumption of innocence and presume our client not guilty?
Yes.
And you'd require the state to prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt. Is that right?
Correct.
And the judge at the end of the case will again define those rules and you'll follow them. Is that right?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Frank? Oh, excuse me. You need to, okay. Mr. Frank?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Juror 58. Thank you for being here with us. And sorry to just refer to you by number, but that's just the way the system works. So sorry about that. I come third in line, so a lot of my questions have already been answered, and I have listened to your answers, and I appreciate them. I just have one thing I want to follow up on. In your answers, remember that chart with the different I agree and don't agree? There was, one where, you indicated about, and I want to just make sure I get this right, that, people don't give law enforcement officers the respect they deserve, and you indicated you strongly disagree with that.
Yes. So the question, I don't feel like they get the respect they deserve, and I disagreed with that strongly. Correct?
Right.
Yeah, I guess at least in my community, I see police officers having a lot of respect, and then even my friend, who's a police officer, for the most part, he seems to feel like he gets, the respect that he deserves.
Yeah. And yet, it seems like from knowing your friend, the police officer, they're people too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to say yes.
Yes, sorry.
It's a hard habit to break, but we'll work on it a little. And so that's why you wouldn't have any difficulty, is that why you would not have any difficulty evaluating a police officer's testimony the same as anybody else?
That is correct.
And the same way, with a former police officer on trial here, you would consider the evidence just apart from the fact that they had a uniform on at the time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And evaluate the evidence as it's presented here in court.
Correct.
Well, Juror 58, as I said, a lot of my questions were asked. So, if you could give me just a moment, please. Your Honor, may I have one? Thank you, Juror 58. I don't have any further questions, Your Honor. We passed the juror.
Okay, you're going to be a juror. We're going to start December 8th. You're going to get a call from the jury office just to confirm the date, time, and where you show up.
Okay.
Okay? So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, council, we have our jury. I want to thank both sides for being efficient in questioning. And I'm really glad we're on track to start when we're supposed to start. What I'll do is I'll send you a draft of the jury instructions as soon as I get them done. And I expect to be able to do that by the end of the day, okay? Then what we can do is you'll probably want to take a look at them, take some time to look at them. I'm thinking we can meet. Why don't we do this? Why don't we plan to meet Monday morning? Today is Friday, right? Why don't we plan to meet Monday morning? Let's say 9 o'clock. We'll go through the jury instructions. We'll have an answer for you on the autopsy photos. And we'll hopefully at that time be able to talk about objections to exhibits. Okay? So Monday morning, 9 o'clock. And then I'll rule on any remaining motions in limine on Monday. Okay. We'll probably take Tuesday off, assuming that we get everything done on Monday. If not, we can, reconvene and finish up whatever we didn't finish up on Monday, and so that we're starting Wednesday with any objections already ruled on, all stipulations agreed upon. Okay? Mr. Gray, did you want to say something?
Well, the motions in limine and objection to exhibits, we have a large amount of exhibits from the state, and we really appreciate the disc from them so we could get that done by Monday.
Okay. Any updates on when the disc or hard drive is going, what do you call this?
I checked this morning, Your Honor, just before we came to court, before we came to the courtroom, and it looks like we're making pretty good progress on that. This will give me an opportunity to double check and hopefully get something to them by the end of the day. We'll work out the physical exchange of that.
Okay.
I can get a look at them today, so I think we're in good shape there.
Do you want to reconvene on Monday afternoon, or you think you'll be ready at 9 o'clock?
Monday afternoon, I think we can.
What?
9 o'clock would be fine.
Okay. Okay. Let's just keep it at 9 o'clock. We can always, go into the afternoon if we're not done. Okay. All right.
If we get the exhibit, we don't really get if we get the exhibits today, or the disc, Monday morning would be fine, but if we don't get them today, Monday morning, we really wouldn't be prepared to do that. We might be prepared in the afternoon if we got them Monday morning.
Okay. Wait, Mr. Gray, we could work on jury instructions in the morning.
All right, good.
Okay. All right. Anything else of a procedural nature or legal nature? Okay, counsel. Have a good weekend, everyone. And we will see you Monday morning at 9 o'clock.
Well, just to be clear, we would waive Officer Potter's appearance for the jury charge procedure, if that is okay.
Okay. Well, we discussed this. We'll have in-chambers discussions about jury instructions, and Officer Potter has agreed that she won't be in attendance for that, correct? All right. And then, of course, we'll put everything on the record. Any objections to what I would consider the final instructions, we'll put everything on the record afterwards. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us. This is Dan over at Unicorn Riot. We're just going to run probably the most shocking thing from yesterday, which was about Juror 52 and their uncle being killed by the police. So we've got that clip pulled out for you. Thank you all for tuning in. It sounds like they are going to basically have a day off next week, and then opening arguments will come back on the 8th. So generally speaking, this stuff won't be happening out in the open, and I don't think we'll have any streams until December 8th. We really appreciate you all tuning in. Again, our website is at unicornriot.ninja. If you want to look at the Kim Parter trial landing page, that's right up there at the top. We got 2 stories posted late last night. One was about the protest after the first day of the trial and the car attack that happened, which led to at least one person breaking their wrist and other people, being shocked in that car attack. And we have another story about Ruby Montoya, which is a case involving cooperation with federal authorities, Dakota Access Pipeline, movement lawyers, and more. That's a deep dive from a contributing writer. And so take a look at that. That's definitely been making the rounds on Twitter. People are definitely interested in this, especially in this Ruby case, because that's a deep dive into what happens in prosecutions. So yeah, we are going to replay a part of yesterday's. So we'll go to that now. And again, we have a new Twitter account, Unicorn Riot Live. If you want to follow those play-by-play legal maneuvers, we've basically got just a second Twitter for that, which is very helpful. So I'm going to run this clip from yesterday, and then we'll run the protest footage from the first day of the trial, and I think we'll go down, and we'll be back on the 8th. If anyone has any questions, I can try to answer them before I go down for today, and then we'll be back on December 8th, which will be on next Wednesday. So today's Friday. We'll be back on next Wednesday. Thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate your support. It makes a huge difference. If you can support us on unicornriot.ninja, the donate button's up there at the top. Becoming a regular, monthly, weekly, quarterly, yearly donor does make a huge difference. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we do count on your support. We've been going for 6 years now, diving in on these, social issues, frontline coverage, investigations, stuff like that. And it's your support that really makes that possible. So thanks again for joining us. We will, one moment, and we will be back on Wednesday. So I'll update that. So it looks like Wednesday is the day. So I'll run this. So this next clip, this ran from yesterday. Kind of a shocking firsthand story from one of the prospective jurors who got let go for cause. So I'm going to run that now. Thank you all for joining us.
Even what your friend told you, are you going to be able to set that aside, what your friend told you, and listen to the evidence in this case and base your decision on whether or not the state has proven the charges beyond a reasonable doubt based solely on the evidence?
So I feel like I've had personal issues with the police, as in the police have murdered my uncle. And they just haven't treated my family right. So it's very hard to put that aside. I personally do not think I should be a part of this jury, because I know that what had happened was 3 blocks from where I used to live, and it's very hard to hear.
Okay. So you don't feel like you can be a fair and impartial juror?
Not in this one.
Okay. Counsel? Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for filling out the questionnaire and being so honest here. So, you're excused from this jury? All right. Have a good evening. Okay, 1 second. Okay. The juror was excused for cause. There was no objection by the state or the defense. And I think the reason for her being struck for cause are obvious. She said that she couldn't be fair and impartial.
It's a lot of critics saying don't support it because he was running. Now, after all the murders you done seen, since George Floyd, you gonna stare at me in my face and tell me fight or flight's not something, and he wasn't maybe scared and try to run? That same script, that same story has to end. 2 days ago, there was 2 people killed by the police in the same day. And the stories came out right away. Now they're so afraid they can put whatever they want to and get the people to be confused. Daunte Wright should be alive. He did not deserve to die. Period. Period. You know how many times I've ran from the police? Just because I'm out here with no driver's license, you think you won't take me down? I don't deserve to live? This is a common problem in our black community. When it comes to a driver's license like Philando Castile, pulled over 50 sometimes, to then go ahead in legislation and pass a law that says if you have one of these right here hanging in your window, they can pull you over now. They made that law while I was alive. Now I'm witnessing a young brother got killed over it. They didn't find out he had a warrant until after he got pulled over. So you can't bring that in to play in the mix. All we want y'all to do is understand. All we want to do is bring awareness. We're not able to solve every problem in our community right now. We can't. We know we can't. But we definitely gonna make some noise. We definitely gonna make them hear us. This is the first day of jury selection. They say you might as well not even go out there. What's the waste of time? We're gonna stand every day. Because every single second you have the opportunity to take a breath, Daunte Wright can't. That's why I go hard at what I do. There's a lot of brothers out here that have passed away senselessly, including gun violence, period. He deserved to live. He deserved to breathe right now. His mother, his father, his family, his brother, all his siblings, they need the community support right now. Let's bring awareness around that. We're going to bring awareness around the realest things right now and wonder why somebody would be out here, because we know you wouldn't want it to be your kid next. Because it doesn't have a color underneath it, but you know what? Black people, this is like the icing on our cake. The police artists, we already have so much adversity to overcome. Enough is enough. Our people do not deserve to die in the streets like this. He should have been rushed immediately to the hospital. As far as them putting these guns on us and then telling us not to move, you done shot me. And you still got your guns out holding it over these bodies. And they're bleeding out. And sometimes they doing CPR when there's a wound in the neck. And you're not supposed to. but no one wants to talk about some of these other underlying factors and changing rules and laws that lead to some of these deaths. And our system's not working for our people. George Floyd guilty verdict, which happened right here, was because the people, when you turn them cameras around, supporting this and having a passion in their heart to represent in Minnesota. So don't let it be confused. We know what's going on. And we got a lot of groups and organizations playing their role. Find a way to do your part. Find a way to spread the message. Make these people feel it. Don't give up on this family from seeking justice. Because the last thing we're going to allow is for a Rittenhouse child to get off on something like that. And now allow another person in the state of Minnesota to violate someone's civil rights and get away with it. So they have to draw the line in the United States of America. Joe Biden, he's in Minnesota right now. We hope you're watching and paying attention. He's here to talk about an infrastructure bill.
You need some of that.
Our people are suffering. Daunte Wright is gone. There's nothing you can do right now to fix that other than make sure she's held accountable. That's what you can do right now. You can speak on this situation today. We demand the leaders to step up and speak out that she was wrong. She should have been able to identify she had a 9mm in her hand and not a taser. Right. You have to be able to identify that. If we don't make a bill that specifically says if you grab your gun and kill somebody, but you thought it was a taser, you're going to be charged. It's that basic. Let's get to the basics of the problem. How we going to solve something? That's a little indication that Daunte Wright could have been alive. How can we save the next person? So as we bring awareness, is what we doing for our people. And right solutions. We all got solutions, but putting our hands together is where it's really gonna make noise. And the manslaughter charge really is not enough. No. There needs to be murder charges. That's right. Keith Ellison, let me make it very loud and clear. Joe Biden, let me make it very loud and clear. We need murder charges. Murder charges.
Murder charges. Murder charges.
When I say murder, y'all say charges. Murder 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 charges. We have to echo that. There has to be accountability when you get something like this confused in the state of Minnesota and around the country. It's unfair to Daunte Wright to not be here because that's a clear violation of your civil rights. That's why we're here.
So we're here to create space for the Daunte Wright family and for Daunte Wright. It's the first day of the Kim Potter trial. They're choosing the jury, and so we're just out here trying to make a statement that, you know, we want a fair trial, but we also are hoping for a guilty verdict, and that, you know, we stand in community and that we support the families, and, you know, we're here for the people. We support the people. With these situations, I think we always expect the worst but hope for the best. We know that the system can be corrupt, and so, I mean, hoping for guilty, of course. We're hoping to see some justice and accountability on the fact that she did kill Daunte Wright. I mean, I guess that's all we can really hope for, especially with these situations. We know when it comes to black and brown bodies that the system will do anything it can to not hold police accountable. you know, their thin blue line runs strong, and they try to protect each other as much as they can within the police system and within the judicial system. So we're just hoping that this family will receive accountability and that we'll get a guilty verdict. Power to the people.
Hello. Thank you, brother. I just want to speak to y'all real quick about what's going on in your city behind closed doors. Brooklyn Center's holding meetings in regards to curfews in their own backyard. I saw about 150 people in the meeting last night making decisions for a city before jurisdiction has even arrived. Please make that make sense. We are out here discussing Daunte Wright today, mourning Daunte Wright today, and they're having meetings cloaked in darkness. I don't recall during the Derek Chauvin trial anyone who's active destroying anything. I don't recall screaming and shouting in the streets. We all sat on our hands and we waited patiently, respecting the system, right? But we can't even get enough respect enough to know what's being said about us behind closed doors.
That's great.
I'll say it again. We can't even get enough respect enough to find out what's going on with us behind closed doors. I haven't seen any destruction of property in Brooklyn Center throughout this summertime. I've heard of rubber bullets flying at children.
Tear gas.
I've seen flashbangs in the streets.
Yep.
I've seen medics having to wipe blood off people's bodies. For what? Because we're asking for basic civil rights. The same civil rights we've been asking for that we celebrate in January. We pretend to acknowledge in the Mississippi of the North in February. And now we're sitting here discussing a young man, a child. For what? Because he was scared? You don't think that we're afraid speaking in front of these mics? Having our cameras on faces? In fear of retaliation? When will the state of Minnesota respect black existence?
Hey.
When will they actually show us love? When will they stop being fake and phony and deceitful? It's shameful. All the big officials were on this meeting last night. No one spoke. No one spoke. The mayor spoke. Curfew. Brooklyn Center. Raise your hands if you knew that was happening. Media. Council. When does the bullshit stop? You have fathers out here taking time out of their day for people who we don't even know, but we love because that could have been our kids.
That's right.
That's right.
Minnesota, what are we doing? Do you actually value black lives? Do those Black Lives Matter signs in your front yards, do they mean something to you? Or is that a security blanket for you? Please understand, this is our lives. A lot of us don't sleep when we see these things. I hold back tears when I see these things. I'm not gonna shame myself in front of y'all. I'm damn for sure not gonna give you that power. But know that we hurt every day. Every day. And why? Ask yourselves why. Because we exist? Daunte Wright. We haven't even finished discussing what's going on with George Floyd. That's how shameful this state is. Y'all want to sweep cops up under the rug and send them home like nothing ever happened. We didn't forget. We did not forget about George Floyd, and we damn for sure aren't going to forget about Daunte Wright. I'm looking at all my activist friends who can see me currently, I challenge all y'all. I need all of y'all outside. I know we work. I know this journey is hard. I know it hurts. I know it's frustrating. But we need to work together to impact this city the way I know that we can. There are a lot of leaders out here right now. State of Minnesota, please stop playing with black lives, because damn it, our life is supposed to matter. And that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you.
I'm here standing with the Wright family, you know, nothing right but standing with the Wrights. Just hoping that, you know, I just hope that, you know, we can know the difference from manslaughter and murder, you know, because we knew the difference from a taser and Glock. So I felt that, you know, what's understood don't need to be explained. I feel that, you know, she should be, get the verdict of guilty, because we know murder when we see murder. You know, she knew the difference between, you know, a taser and killing a young, innocent black man. And I felt that, you know, it was a cover-up, you know, and I feel like they tried to play a part that it was an act of a mistake, and I feel like I'm just waiting, you know, and I'm waiting with the family, you know, I'm waiting with the community, and I feel like, you know, if they don't get us the right verdict, you know, it's time to bring it back to the basics, you know, and I feel like it's time to like show the city that we're not gonna take none of that no more, and we're not gonna sit on our hands anymore, because I feel like, you know, like she said, the police work with each other, the juries work with each other. They know what's in the end, you know, learning from what happened in Wisconsin, you know, and what happened with George Floyd, we know that it's a lot of stuff that goes on in the courthouse that they don't expose to the community, that they work, you know, against what's right. And I feel like, you know, do what's right and make it right for the Rice family, because at the end of the day, we know murder.
We'll say a few words and we'll get started on the march. We are here standing in solidarity with Daunte's family. We have a bunch of the families here that have lost loved ones at the hands of law enforcement here to stand in solidarity. We have all of you guys that have come out this evening, and we are very thankful and grateful that you guys are here to stand up for Daunte's life. And hopefully we get this woman exactly what she deserves out of this situation. We do not believe that this was an accidental situation. We believe that from listening to the young men in the area out in Brooklyn Center, we believe that this woman was targeted and harassing and profiling young black men way before she killed Daunte Wright. And then prior to that, she killed Kobe Heisler, or she was a part of what happened to Kobe Heisler. She actually told the officers on scene to turn off their body cameras after Kobe Heisler was shot. So she's been a part of multiple situations where this is just a repeat, just like Derek Chauvin repeatedly killed people before he got to George Floyd. We're dealing with the same thing with Kim Potter. It's just a female instead, but we're not gonna let her cry her little white privilege tears to get away with murder of a young black man who was unarmed. She was a 25-year-old veteran. She knew the difference between her gun and a taser.
So we just want to continue to show solidarity with this family. We want to continue to show up for this family and all families that have lost their loved ones at the hands of this corrupted system. And so, any of the families, I always offer the floor to the families that have lost people first and foremost. So any of the families want to say a few words, and any of the people in our community who have been standing and fighting with all of our families, if you guys would like to say a few words this evening, we would appreciate it because we're so grateful for everybody that showed up this evening. You could be anywhere doing anything. You could be hanging out with your families, but you choose to be out here with our families, and that will never go unnoticed. It will never go unappreciated what you guys sacrifice and how much you even bring your babies and your children out here. Even every last person that's out here, even the other families that have built strength enough to be out here. Let's continue to work together, and let's continue to love on each other. Let's continue to fight together. Let's not let them see us separated from one another. Let's let them see us standing in solidarity and shutting this shit down. If Daunte don't get it, 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 shut it down. Thank you. Any other families want to say a few words? We have the mother of Jeffrey Smith, who was killed by St. Paul police, shot 49 to 52 times. Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you, guys. Thank you for all your support. Thank you all for coming out. Love all of you. We want justice, and we want it now. We want justice for Daunte Wright. We want Kim Potter's convicted to the highest and the fullest. What gives you the right to take his life? We're tired. We're really tired of your cover-ups. We're tired of your BCA cover-ups. We're tired of your prosecutorial cover-ups. We're tired of your government cover-ups. We need justice. We're gonna get it by any means necessary. We don't care who don't like it. This is wrong. She was a trainer. What was she training? Training people how to kill? What is she training? We need her gone. She has to go. Kim Potter, you have to go. You are gonna go, Kim Potter. It's totally sickening. What you did to Daunte Wright, you're not gonna get away with it. We're tired of your cover-ups. We're tired of all of this. Your trainings of other cops to kill, that's enough. We're gonna get justice, and we're gonna see to it. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so now we'll just have a few here. We'll have like 3 here, and then we'll get going on the march because we don't want to lose people, and we got the streets blocked off and stuff. So we're gonna have Courtney Ross, the significant other of George Floyd. Thank you.
Ooh, thank y'all again for coming out tonight. I'm quickly gonna thank you. When I could not get out of bed and I could not take one step, I knew everyone was out here marching for Floyd, and I will never give enough thanks for that. It will be forever, so thank you. Daunte Wright was a student of mine at Edison High School. I worked with him every single day. One of the last times I saw Daunte, my arms were around him, and I didn't know that that would be the moment that I'd have to remember. I also am a mother. I have 2 sons. One of my sons is 21 years old. He's light complected, comes from a biracial family. He's athletic. He also loves basketball. And he goes around the north side in Brooklyn Center as much as Daunte did. Daunte is all of our sons. We need to remember that when this happens. Daunte is my son, Daunte is your son. Lord knows he's the right son. He is. I want to say about Kim Potter, like Tashira said, she's been profiling black people in Brooklyn Center for a long time now. And she took advantage of her position and murdered Daunte. Everyone that was trained under her, and as I've heard, her husband, who does taser training, should be retrained. Make sure that this never happens again. Yes. Rest in peace, Daunte. Yes. Love you.
Black lives. Black lives. Black lives. I have the co-founder of Bill Little, Minnesota, Monique Kohler's Dottie, and the aunt of Marcus Golden come up and say a few words.
Thank you all. Thank you all for being out here. It's so important that we continue to stand up for justice, and we have to make sure that Daunte is not forgotten, right? So we have to continue to be out here. We cannot let up. It's just how we do it here in the Twin Cities, which is why I love you all in the community who comes out to support families. So on this day, standing in solidarity with the family, I offer my prayers and my love and all the solidarity in the world, whatever we can do. We've been doing work for Daunte. Many people have been out. So thank you all for being out here. And we just want to remember, Daunte's gotten so much further than the majority of families across the country in terms of the possibility of getting justice. And we haven't seen it here very often, right? We saw with just George Floyd and then even Justine DeMond, which some may say that was not even justice because of the charges. But I'm just so proud that that video was released. I'm so happy for the family that they had that bit of evidence because so many weren't filmed, right? Tucson Psych Public Media had an event for those who weren't filmed. How many weren't filmed? So although it seems like it's such a hard day and a horrible day for the family, I'm sure it is. But I want you to know that it's also a blessing because so many of us didn't get a chance to sit in a courtroom, right? So out of everything negative, we can take something positive. So we want to look at this at least as a positive thing, that this killer cop, Kim Potter, is going to prison, and that's where she needs to be. There's no excuse for what she did. Her pulling a taser, pulling a gun and yelling taser is no different than many times we see black men, women, and children who are killed, and then they yell, "Oh, put down the knife." There's no knife, right? They're just setting the stage. He's got a gun. There's no gun, but they're just setting the stage, right? So what Kim thought she was doing, she thought she was setting the stage. She's yelling, "Taser, taser, taser," knowing she had a gun. Knowing she had a gun. Also, we know what she could have done. She could have just let him go. They knew who he was. They knew his address. He was not an international flight risk, right? There was no need. Additionally, she put other people in harm's way by killing him while he is driving a vehicle. And it's ridiculous. Kim Potter is a killer cop, and she needs to be imprisoned for a long time. No justice, no peace. No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No killer!
Police!
No killer!
Police!
That's right. Thank y'all for being out here. Love and solidarity to you all.
Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. All right, we have one more speaker before we get started. She's gonna link some of this. Daunte Wright's family.
Yes. Are we ready here? Okay.
It's good to see so many people out here today. I'm old enough to be the great-grandmother of some of you out here today. And this struggle has been going on for a long time. I remember the Black Panthers and other folks who were out fighting this fight way back in the 60s, and even before that we had people who were dealing with police brutality. The thing that strikes me is that this is really a systems issue. Color of the oppressor doesn't matter. Gender of the oppressor doesn't matter. And so it's good that we have a multiracial fight back against this. And let's all keep organizing and hoping that Kim Potter gets justice from the system and ends up getting the maximum sentence that she can possibly get for this murder. Daunte is a grandson of my niece and her husband, and that's how I happen to be related to him. And it's important that, to me, that so many people of you and all of us are out here supporting the family and other victims of police brutality. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, I just wanted to mention a few other families that came out to stand in solidarity before we take off on the march. We have, so you heard from Monique Kayodoti. We also have the mother of Hardell Sherrill, Delshia Perry, who is out here. We have the grandfather of Brian Quinones that is out here with us today. We have Daunte Wright family and Phil Quinn and Billy Hugh family out here this evening. And we have, I was told that Kim Handy Jones, the mother of Cordell Handy, is out here with us this evening. And then we have myself for Justin Tigan that is standing in solidarity. So we have a number of families, and we have so many other families that just, they couldn't be out here tonight, but they stand in solidarity with Daunte Wright's family. And so we're going to take off on the march at this point, so we won't lose our crowd, and then we will stop mid-march and we'll have a few more speakers and we'll get going like that. Treyhorn, do you want to start leading us with some chants so we can get going on the march? Thank you all.